Hello, Vivid Earth Tribe. How are you all doing today? Today I'm interviewing somebody very special. She calls herself Joan of Angels, and she's an intuitive guide, an oracle, a transformational teacher, and the host of Step into the Miraculous. So I've just loved her energy since I saw her on YouTube. She did an interview with Laura Eisenhower, and I really wanted to introduce you to her. So here she is. Joan, welcome.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I'm so happy to be on the show, Anina.
Lovely to have you, Joan. You're like a veteran in the industry, so it's marvelous having somebody of your experience and caliber. And yeah, maybe give our audience a little bit of an introduction to you. I've given a very brief one. I'm sure you can do it much better than I, as to who you are, what you do, and what brought you to this point in your career and your life.
That's so sweet. You reminded me that my very, very first radio show was in 2005, and it was called Make Your Miracle Today, because I had been a very, very successful chiropractor until I lost everything because of an injury. And when I won a major lawsuit, I felt it was such a miracle. And the support that I had, my kids and I were so desperate for a miracle that we had formed a Miracle Makers Club. And I started going on air talking about all these ways you can create miracles in your life and how you could shift your attitude. And literally, so my kids and I did go on not only to win that lawsuit, but to create miracles in our life and my very, very first radio show. But fast forward, all right, I've been a successful chiropractor all my life until I was injured over almost 20 years ago, and I had to stop practicing. And in 2013, and I became an oracle. I started to help people remember who they are and why they're here. And in 2013, I had a tremendous awakening. It was Halloween and 2013, and I was with a group of friends and we were painting, and my friends started saying, Joan, why don't you paint angels? And I go, I can't paint eyes. And before you know it, by the end of the night, I heard my guides telling me, paint 33 angels in 30 days. And the implication was that that would be the solution to getting me back on track to what I was really supposed to do in my life. Because I've had a vision since I was 30 that I was here to heal and inspire, but it hadn't happened yet, and I was frustrated. And so I listened to the guidance. I painted 33 angels in 30 days, and I put them up on the wall, and now it's an angel loft, right? And a book falls off the shelf. It says, your call for angelic assistance has been heard. And that was step one. And it culminated in a sense of a few years later, I received instructions to move to the desert so I could actually hear the voice. The voice is better, so I can connect better in the desert. And the second day I'm in the desert, I'm being introduced to a new person. We're in a busy restaurant. And she looks at me like this. She goes, what did you say your name was? And the whole restaurant went silent in my head. Time stopped. And she says, I know who you are. You're Joan of... Now, at that moment, I thought she was going to say Ark. She said, Joan of Angels. And I went, phew, okay. But I heard the Hallelujah chorus. And then I spent, Anina, 7 years stepping into that frequency of Joan of Arc, Joan of Angels, and what I'm really here to do. And I can tell you that 2 weeks ago, I moved from the desert. So I think this is quite unique. I've been guided that it was time, 7 years. Jesus did it in 7 weeks. Other avatars do it in 7 weeks. I needed 7 years to understand what I'm really here to do. So I've been unpinned. I no longer live in the desert. I'm temporarily in an Airbnb with my new business partner from Portal to Ascension and Soul Search. I'm here just brainstorming our way and creating events to help heal, inspire, wake up, and help people remember who they are. So never stop believing in miracles, Anina.
Absolutely. That's an amazing story. Wow. It sounded like
It's a short version too.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's very summarized, but it is an amazing story. It sounds like you had quite an awakening, and it was all destiny, so to speak.
I am what's called a 33 aspect walk-in, meaning that really I'm not the same person that I was. And when I was very young, life was very challenging. And so I fragmented into many parts of myself. And I've spent all this time really reintegrating and learning to connect with the divine and understanding my purpose and my purpose in helping other people remember who they are, why they're here, and raise that energy to, we're living, as you say, in very perilous times, really, but also opportunities for initiation and awakening. So we're living in spiritually the best of times for all of us who do know we came here for a reason. This is our time. All those old leaders are sort of being pushed to the side, and us new ones are coming forward with these messages of awakening for humanity. So
Sorry, I had to mute because the wind is so hectic. I think after this new moon, I don't know what's going on. So I had to mute for a minute. Otherwise, it has like a blowout every couple of minutes. Um,
I
yeah,
get it. The desert was like that. 7 years of wind. I got
oh,
it.
wow. So you were not sorry to leave the desert.
I love the desert. I had a very quiet life. I couldn't I was in a financial situation. I didn't want to go out at night. It was too far away. It was dark. I couldn't see. It was perfectly designed for one to paint. I must have painted hundreds and hundreds of angelic, celestial type art that's in storage right now. And I channeled for it was actually the best of times. It didn't matter where they put me in a sense. The desert, because it was more foreboding, there's the winds, the dark, the rains, the flash floods, the weather was an issue there, but I thrived inwardly. I didn't make a lot of friends. I just actually just went inside
Yeah.
and create and when I emerged, it was when Joan of Angels and Joan of Arc had kind of fully merged within me, that I understood I'm here as a way shower. I'm here to remind us that we're fifth dimensional beings in 3D bodies. We can do this. We can step up and see the big picture and really remember why we're here. And when we do that, we create a feel that other people can do that with us too.
Yeah.
And that raises the vibrations of the planet. And
Yeah.
once we do that, that's part of the ascension, that's part of the awakening.
Yeah. Once
So
we
I
give ourselves
I
permission
love
to
the desert.
shine, then we give others permission to shine too, right?
Yes, and that's my
Empowering.
miracle maker philosophy. We step in, we create miracles in our life, and then we can do what we came here to do. So we turn around and we bring our friends in, and they bring theirs in. Mhm.
Amazing.
Hunter's monkey theory.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we were meant to be here. We chose to be here at this time. I fully believe that. It's no coincidence that we are here. Certainly for all of us that have awakened to the bigger picture in terms of where this earth is going, we were definitely chosen to be at this time. So we can't just, I believe, sit back and do nothing.
I agree with you. So, and this is relevant. In June of 2020, I was kind of breaking down. It was like I just didn't know how to handle all of this. It's like, oh my God, should I freak out? What? And I heard these voices. My guides came to me loud and clear. And this is what they really told me. They said, Joan, you're the only Joan of Angels on the planet, okay, which is true. But if you don't use it, you will lose it. And this is what I want everyone to know. We have these gifts, we have these skills, we have this mission, we have, this kind of contract that we came down here with to do certain kinds of work. And if we don't do it, the guides will just give it to someone else. There's other people that will step up and do it because they put that call out to many of us. It's only those who say, yes, oh, yeah, yes, I want to do this. They don't give you the whole picture either,
Mm,
because they know that as humans, we may freak out. So they give you just enough. And you go, yeah, oh my goodness, I could do this. And so 2020, they said, look, Joan, this is the time for which you've been called. And I'm telling this to all of you who are listening. This is the time for which we've been called. It will never get any any more needier for us. Like these are the times. We have not had this in our lifetime. It certainly calls for us to really step up and go, why did Spirit put me here now? For what, how can I serve and in what way?
mm.
So, and you
Absolutely.
yourself, you said, and 2 years ago, I realized I had to do something more.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, definitely. The events that happened over the last 2.5 years definitely brought out the warrior in me. Sometimes it's the light warrior, sometimes it's the angry warrior, but we try and kind of assimilate all this energy and push it forward in a very positive, meaningful way so that we can, as you said, serve others. Because we haven't had such an event in 26,000 years. The, the shift that we're going through now, entering the age of Aquarius, has not happened for 26,000 years. And what is the risk of not doing something? That's what I'm saying to people. What are you risking by, stepping forward into your mission without apology? You're risking much more than not doing it, because this is a once in a 26,000-year event. We're not meant to just exist.
I know, I totally agree. I believe that we came down here for a reason. Those of us who are here and who are awake and who are really wondering why we're here and what our purpose is, we did come down with a purpose. We were sent down here. We volunteered down to come here for these challenging times. We all have a role in it, whether it's as the leader, the broadcaster, the service, the person who heals or helps or listens. We all have a reason and a role. And I kind of equate it to the following. It's like coming down with a clipboard. Here's your assignment. Here's the tools. Here's moments where you have a chance to awaken. And your job is just to simply start to awaken and saying, okay, yes. Now, is it easy? Not necessarily, but the truth is, and this is what I've been shown, that many were called, okay, but few chose, and yet few were chosen back also. In other words, only those who are assured of completing their mission have arrived here. And that's what I want everyone to know. The outcome is that positive Aquarian, awakening of humanity. It may get a little rough, but if you're here now listening to this, you are one of those who not only chose, but was also selected because Spirit knows that you're a part of this grand awakening of Earth. What could be
Yeah,
more exciting?
absolutely. And they say it's only the bravest souls that were prepared to come during this time. Only the
Well, it's
bravest.
not for the fearless.
And
Right.
we've been disempowered for so long. So it's time to take our power back and step into our power, and not ego, but our true innate power, and start working on those gifts that have been vanished from our history and just removed from our history for so long. Is getting back in touch with ourselves and the universe and this earth, and reconnecting with our unique gifts.
It is. It, it's been a grand initiation. Okay. The whole pandemic gave us a chance to go through, each of us go through our own initiation, our own cocoon, really sort through, where do I stand? Who am I? What are my beliefs now? And they could have been changing for everyone, because this has been a wake up call, a chance to see where you stand on everything.
Mm.
Not for the fearless these times.
Yeah, yeah. And as
And
much as
that's what I do. I've been guiding people. I've been a chiropractor for 40 some odd years, and I don't practice as a chiropractor so much as I practice teaching people how to align your body, your mind, and spirit. I'm a medical intuitive, and I call myself a soul awakener. a transformational soul awakening, like wake up now. How do we wake up? How do we access those tools with confidence?
Yeah. And how we can help ourselves, because the truth is, when you're a chiropractor, people come to you and they're kind of powerless and they look to you to help them. Now you're teaching them how to help themselves using, I mean, I'm just assuming a lot of the principles that you've learned throughout your life, but now helping them empower themselves and learning, you know.
No, it's so true. I used to have a saying in my chiropractic office that I'm here to help you learn to leap over tall buildings in a single bound. That was the superwoman in me.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, we don't get an owner's manual when we arrive.
Mm.
And, you know, we may have parents that are difficult. We may have difficult life challenges growing up. And what I can say is the following: all that serves to strengthen you. It serves to help you actually get stronger and more determined and become who you are. All of those challenges. And then we have to let them go anyway, because you can't take them as you ascend. You can't take all your problems with you, but those molded us into who we are. And if we can learn to reframe them, we become stronger.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about your work, how you go about, what are the modalities and the disciplines that you use to help people?
Well, that's so interesting. So, because I was really thinking about this, I'm an oracle. An oracle is one who can read destiny or see the bigger picture of what is going on in different times, eras, or places. So in a sense, that's one of the things that I do. But and I'm a speaker, I help people raise their vibrational frequencies by really remembering what their purpose is. And I teach it. I do online video programs with it. I'm now the director of productions for Portal to Ascension, which is an online event and online webinar platform, and also in-person events. So now I'm director of productions for that, which is really aligned with what I'm here to do. A doctor is a teacher. My whole life, I've been a teacher of stepping into health, wealth, and happiness for yourself, and to help you do that in everything you do, in a sense. I help. That's really true. When I say I help you remember why you're here, that's big.
Mm.
You know, I help you access inside your strengths, your skills, that power, that switch to turn on so you can be who you really are and see it clearly. Does it happen overnight? No. So I work with people individually. I work with private sessions. I work with coaching. I have some clients that have worked with me for years. I do have some clients that have sworn that when they didn't listen, it screwed them up totally. I have one particular day I remember where one of my favorite clients called and said, "Oh my God, Joan, I should have listened to you. 3 years ago, you told me. 2 years ago, you said it. 1 year ago, 6 weeks ago. And the guy screwed me after all that. I
Yep.
should have listened." And on the same day, I had another client, which was great, who years ago asked me what I thought about her changing her career at that time. And I had told her, "No, you're not ready." But on that same day, I had that other client. I had this one, and she was ready. And I said, "Oh my God, remember, you're ready. Like, you are so ready. This is the time." And she waited, you know, she waited till she had that. And then it was like gangbusters. So that's what I like to do. I'm a sort of,
Okay.
I like to help tweak people, fluff your wings, and help you connect also to that voice within so you can hear it.
Amazing.
Right?
So how do you get your messages or your information? How does it come to you?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I have a couple of classes about that on my website, just so you know. Um, but I will say this. My entire life, I've heard messages. Part of the struggle, though, was actually believing them or listening to them or not thinking I was nuts or that I was making it up. Okay. Now I teach classes to show you how to discern that. But part of my life was really getting that these messages were the ones to listen to as opposed to the voice of everyone else. Now, when I receive messages, and so I have received messages my whole life. When I was 20, trying to remember how old I was, about 26, I was in a spiritual group in LA, and I was in a kind of I guess, a spiritual evening, and everyone had to say, well, what do you want? What did you come here for? And I said, oh, I'm Joan. I really want to know what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. And that night I heard a voice in my head. It said, go to chiropractic school. And it was loud and it was clear. So sometimes, Anina, I get it right here, loud and clear. I love those voices. I was looking for my chiropractic office years later, and I had woken up that morning and I heard a voice that said, you'll find your office today on Solano Avenue. I go to Solano Avenue and I'm looking, no office. I hit a car. It's an attorney. Boom. Takes 20 minutes to exchange. And as I hit him, it was a loud boom because I was not paying attention. I was looking. I hear a voice that says, turn around. You're going the wrong way. So 20 minutes later, I turn around. Sure enough, a mile up the street on the right is a beautiful office, and I go in. Turns out they had just put the sign up about 20 minutes before. So what I have had to learn is that spirit, our guides, they actually know the plan. We don't. So it's in learning to listen, and so the last thing I'm going to say is if we ignore the messages, and trust me, I've ignored them big time and really had negative effects. If we ignore the messages, then they stop giving them to us.
Yeah, because it's a gift.
So
we don't use the gift,
yeah,
it gets taken away.
It gets taken away. And so the first lesson is to have, when am I listening and when am I not? What happens when I listen? What happens when I don't? They're very basic that we really don't want to pay attention to, but when you pay attention to it, you can find. Heck, I was told one day, don't put your tax returns in the trunk of the car. I go, what? That's crazy. And they said, well, they'll blow it. The trunk's going to open, it'll blow out. And I said, that's even crazier. And I put the tax returns in the trunk of the car. Okay. I will tell you this, 5 days later, someone from the Los Angeles County of Public Works called me and had my daughter's social security number. So when you get, and this is bottom line, guys, when you get messages, sit with them and look and see, when do I listen and when do I don't? It could be very simple. Don't take that road today. And then you're stuck in traffic for 5 hours because you took that road. So pay attention. That's how I learned and trained myself, Anina, to trust what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and I get the feeling everyone gets those messages in different ways. I mean, for me, sometimes it's not words, it's not something audible. It's just like an impression or a knowing. And then I'm like, why is nobody speaking to me? But actually, it's just a different way of communicating, right?
We all get them, and I don't want everyone to know it's the only way to get messages. I get them all over the place. I get them through cards. I get them through songs. I don't know if you know Alan Steinfeld. He wrote a book on called something like Beyond Contact, and I do shows with him. But he said something so interesting. He says that it's usually that little voice you hear that's the most impossible thing you can imagine. And because of that, you usually go, did I just make that up?
Yeah.
But that could be that very feeling, or it's a feeling, it's just a feeling that you might get. Or like my dad once told me years ago, that if I see a coin on the street, to put it in my shoe, that's a message, of good luck. Or when we see triple digits, so, or a sign on a truck that says angel maids or miracle whatever, miracle hearing. Those are messages right then and there.
Mm. We just have to be present enough to notice them because we're so distracted today. We're pulled into all different directions. We're multitasking. We don't even know, what's going on around us. We've got to be more present.
That's true. That's exactly the truth, Anina. People are too busy to pay attention, and they actually ignore until they get to desperate.
That was me for many years. I mean, I was so busy. It was just multitasking, and it was just incredible. I was literally listening to 3 different things and trying to absorb the information at once, and then just that was my life for too many years, and it was not good. I'm so glad I escaped that. And to your point about the imagination, something that I've really been sort of thinking about for the last for a while now. They made us believe that your imagination is something that is a waste of time. It's like, oh, it's just your imagination, right? There's that expression. But your imagination is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And I do believe it was purposefully suppressed. So we need to get back in touch with that imaginary side of ourselves, because then we will start getting information, I believe.
I agree. I think that's the key to self-mastery, is to start trusting your own inner voice. And that's the key to awakening, is that they don't teach us things like telepathy, listening, how to listen to your intuition, how to feel energy, they don't teach us positive self-esteem or meditation or anything for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
Because those are tools that help you understand the truth of everything around you. And we live in a false reality. We live in a matrix where we're being lied to all the time about almost everything. So one of the things is that we came down here into a false reality, a matrix that really isn't pro-humanity. Look at the food, the water, the air. In America, everything that's in the food is dangerous for us, really, and even the organics have stuff in it. So we have to learn to navigate. Each person has to wake up to learn to navigate where you stand in this world, and to start hearing your own truth, because nothing in the society teaches you that.
Absolutely.
They even have a diagnosis code in America for people who are concerned about health food and veganism, being vegans or vegetarian. There's a diagnosis code so that you're sick. You're considered mentally ill for being obsessed with the truth, or being obsessed with health food, or in my case, I've been a natural health practitioner for my entire life. Health comes from within. So you ain't going to convince me that health comes from the outside. You're not going to convince me that wisdom comes from the outside in anymore either, because I've learned and I teach how you pay attention here. We are the source. We're a little walking God who can create our own universe. And everything around us is designed to disempower. Absolutely. Whereas you and I are waking people up.
Yeah. As they say, the game's been rigged, right? They had it all worked out, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. And we've got to undo all of that damage now and help people see past that. And it's when you're standing on the other side, and you look at that picture, what people are eating, what they.
The Other Sides by Kate Bush was released on March 8th, 2019.
You just triggered this. I'm in an Airbnb. I couldn't even get this thing to work. I didn't even know what it was. And whatever you said triggered it to answer. Hello, honey.
That's too funny.
You interviewed Ishmael, and I interviewed him also. We talk about the cosmic event that's coming, that is supposed to awaken humanity. And the way I feel is that this is the time. Humanity has tried many times to overcome this oppression, whoever these controllers are. But I feel that this time is going to be the lifetime that it's going to happen, that we're, because all the factors are coming together. We've had the internet. More people are waking up. We're waking up together. Look, you're on the other side of the world. And right now we're having such a powerful awakening session, and so I feel like the stars are aligned in our favor, that things will maybe get a rough as they discombobulate maybe, but this is the opportunity. We are not going to get burned at the stake for what we're saying. We're not going to lose our head for channeling. We're not going to be accused of being witches. We are actually, this is our time for the awakening. And I believe it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly how it's going to look like. I'm not sure we're just going to wake up one morning and we're going to be new and different. Maybe that's the way it will happen. But
yeah,
we can wake up every day anyway and start to meditate and start to visualize the world we want to create. And I
yeah,
think that's what's important. The the governments are are painting the world they want us to live in. I'm not so sure those are the worlds we the people want to live in. So I say, let's start creating the world we want to live in. Let's start to visualize how we can be be ourselves within that.
yeah. Absolutely. It's that hundred monkey syndrome. If enough of us are spreading the word around the earth, we create a grid, a light grid around the earth, and that wisdom and that information enters the collective, which I think to a certain extent it was already have done. But we all want to wake up more people, and they always say if they don't want to wake up, leave them. But I think we all hope there's a few more that are going to get on board with this. Um, but yeah, I mean, what is your view on this whole, the solar flare and the awakening process? I mean, it sounds like like all of us, don't really know exactly what this event is going to be or when it's going to be. Um, but what do you think? Is that going to be a timeline split? Is there going to be a 3D, 5D kind of split? Um,
We've already begun to split. I'm going
mm,
to ask my guides for a really precise kind of answer to such an imprecise question. Imprecise because the future is no longer held in a container. As everyone has been saying, many timelines are coming together, pushing other timelines out of the way. We have our personal timeline, we have our planetary timeline and grids. So I do believe that every day we're creating more. There is a split of the timeline. We're almost at that fork, and there's this way and this way. What I believe is that the more of us that are awakening, the more this awakening goes, the more this other negative timeline is going to be pushed out of the way. Does that mean our friends and family who are asleep are going to wake up? Not necessarily. No, not necessarily, because there has been what, I don't know, I keep hearing the word right now, zombie apocalypse. What is the
mm,
zombie apocalypse? Well, there's a combination of events that have happened to turn off people's critical thinking,
mm,
to completely shut it off. And even if you're there in front of them with the truth, this the zombie thinking and the switch is turned off. So the critical thinking of many people has been turned off. That's probably what I'm going to say on that. Will there be a split? Yeah. Will we know that? And we can already see the split in America. We see it politically, but we're back, the medically, and there is a huge split. In fact, there's a split on everything, and that split is also indicative of this 3D, 5D kind of split. But, one of the things that Ishmael assured us was that our friends and family, our loved ones can somehow slip in with us
mm.
and be a part. They may not be awake, but we don't, and we'll be so, okay, but there's some other thing I haven't been able to say yet. So yeah, the grand awakening will happen.
Mm.
It'll be more glorious and bigger than we even imagine. I don't know how we will get there, but I will say the following: trust your guidance. Know that Spirit has you by the hand, and you will be guided each step of the way. Just say yes and understand that awakening happens when we all program in awakening moments. Those of us who are here as volunteers, And if you didn't awaken this life, you'll awaken next life. And so that too with our friends and family. Remember, they're part of our big soul family, but they're not under our control.
Mm.
And part of our lesson is also learning to let go and to fly and to hold the energy from the higher dimensions and know that our beloveds will feel it. You know, as we circle, so I take people on guided tours around the earth on angel brigades, this angel gathering, and we can send miracle seeds of awakening and hope and love through the entire planet.
Mm.
But just like someone held steady while we went through this awakening, God knows how many lifetimes we stayed asleep, and some guide over there had to hold steady while we woke up.
Mm.
In a sense, we don't help our brothers and sisters by bashing them on the head.
Yeah.
Okay, of which I've been guilty of too. We only can stand there with our arms outstretched and being that love and light. And we know in the end, all beings come to the light.
Mm. And I think there are a lot of people on the fence as well. Maybe that it's those people that are on the fence that we can still bring over to this new earth. And also
Well,
maybe, yeah.
no, go ahead. I want to hear.
Now I'm also saying, maybe there is truth or not. I don't believe absolute truth in, or distruth in anything. But what Ishmael said, maybe there will be an event, and maybe those that are on the fence, or as was said as well, service to others, will go with this new earth, but they'll be very confused, very scared. And maybe we are there to kind of show the way and help them over the precipice, so to speak. I don't know. But I'm really trying to
I
figure out
agree.
what that process will be.
You can't figure it out because this event is supposed to awaken humanity. And even those of us who are prepared for the event apparently are going to be taken aback and shocked. Okay, so it's an event of momentous proportions. It's going to impact globally the entire planet. So that in itself is shocking. I went through myself different phases. Do I be afraid? Honestly, we're all going to go through it together. And yes, everything recently has been designed for awakening. Because remember, what we hear from the powers that be is designed to shut us up. Don't think, just follow orders, do this. And awakening means you stop listening to the outside and you go, what do I discern in here? What do I really see? What do I really feel? And it takes practice to really start to feel it. We've been trained to just be sheep, just be sheep. And other things too, 5D, we have these smart meters. A lot has been designed, the graphene oxide, to just robotize you to somehow have those brain dead responses. In fact, I could look back in my life and see times in my life where I just did exactly what I was told. I didn't think for myself. I got in line, I raised my hand, and that was it.
Yeah.
These are not those times. Now everyone has a chance to decide, just like the movie The Matrix. Am I going to look? And once you do, it's a shock, but it's very freeing.
There's no looking back, right? Once you know, you can never unknow.
You can never unknow. You can never unknown. And all I can say is the following: what is there to know? If we lived in a truly, humanitarian world, we would all be meditating. We would all be, kind of connecting to the divine, looking at having lives that fulfilled our utmost potential. We would be teaching our children how to be fully empowered beings, how to live their life. What is your mission? Let's help you become the best person you can be. That's how we know we're in the society that's free.
Yeah, I for one can't wait for this new earth. I tell you, I can visualize it, I can see it, and I can almost smell it. It's so close. But how exciting that we are so close. You mentioned something earlier, the zombie apocalypse, and I've heard this a few times now, and I've even heard that something like this might be around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching the
Well,
time. You must just give me a heads
I
up.
was just wanted to put a time. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we're still on time. This is not, yes. Well, there's a lot of ways society has controlled us and disconnected us from our source. So, for instance, told you I'm a chiropractor. There is a switch right here. It's called the Atlas axis. It connects us to innate intelligence. It connects us to our divine source. It connects us to our guides. It connects us to our angelic frequencies, everything. It's right here.
At the base of the
How do we
skull?
do it? The base of the skull, the first two vertebrae connect to your brainstem. So if it's turned off, you're disconnected from source. Also, your pineal gland, if that's turned off and covered. So think about all the foods, all the programming that can turn that off. The chemicals in our food, the chemicals in the cleaning detergents, the chemicals in the petroleum, the chemicals in the air, all that shuts. All of that is designed, besides what we read in the media or religion or whatever, it all turns this off. Period. It shuts off this fluoride in the water, or in your toothpaste, shuts this off. So we're in a society designed to turn you more into an automatic responder. In other words, turn right, do this,
Do as you're told.
hate your neighbor. So it wasn't me or you that decided that if you don't do what we want you to do, we're going to hate you. We were told that somehow you should ostracize other people. Look what they've been doing to humanity, to rip us apart. So
it's all about separation and division and putting us against each other. That's when we're at our weakest, right? When we are divided.
Yeah. We're not strong because that's the way it's been coming down. So I say that for this great awakening to happen, each of us needs to look at our life right now. What do we like? What do we don't? What do we want to change? Because change isn't going to happen just incrementally anymore. We're asking for a society change. We're asking for a values change, a point of view, and it has to start in here.
Yeah.
That's the wake up. You can't sit on the fence anymore and go, well, I'm just going to sit it out, let them do their thing. I'll just be quiet here. That quiet is also part of the apocalypse, because either we're heard or we're lost.
Yeah. And, one is being ostracized for speaking up. How bizarre is that, Just because you're willing to stand up and speak and educate people and say something and speak your truth. People are so scared to speak. I see people around me, they are and they will creep up in the DMs and ask you a question, but they will never in public ask you the question for fear of being ostracized. And it is just incredible because, I quite sort of recently, I've always been kind of in two worlds for a long time, but being in that sort of very, consumerist world, which I have been for a long time, I can tell you that, people are just too scared to speak their minds. Even if they think it or believe it, they keep it very well hidden. And it's so
well, there's a lot of reasons. Anina, first of all, and I think let's do a little thing today to help people speak their truth. Okay? You asked for a little process, so I think we can give it. But, first of all, I don't know about you, but I've had many lifetimes where I lost my life for speaking my truth. Okay? So, a witch, a healer, an herbalist, a woman, we lost our lives for being a woman who spoke her truth. So let's just face it, it's a common thing.
Yeah.
And so we have that, number one. Number two, we have something that the male patriarchy has done a big job in dominating the entire society, so that speaking your truth is punishable by either being censored, being isolated, being attacked, labeled crazy. And so, for years as a chiropractor, I was labeled crazy. She's crazy. She's a radical. Why? Because I believe vitamins and supplements and chiropractic could help heal your body from the inside out. So we have to look at that and go, yes, it's dangerous. So would you like to do a little quick process?
Yes, that'll be great.
You did that? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So close your eyes. Let's all, everyone do this with me. We're just going to do a little fast one, but taking a deep breath in and letting it all out. And once more, taking a deep breath in and letting it all out. Mother, Father, God, we are just so grateful for this opportunity to really feel inside of ourselves, to be together, to understand that which is going on both within me and without. And so we ask right now for a little bit of guidance within us. And we ask to check all aspects of our body, going from our first chakra to our second, to our third, to our fourth. And we ask right now that we just tuning in our consciousness a little bit. And we ask to upgrade them, just to start to see them twirling around so that they're perfectly aligned as we go up to the fifth chakra, our sixth and our seventh. And just imagine right now 7 balls of energy lining up in front of you. So Mother, Father, God, right now, understanding that we are all energy. And as we look at those balls of light, we look and ask to let go of anything that is keeping those balls of light from freeing, from moving freely, from being energized. We ask right now to let go of any fears about speaking our truth, any fears about even feeling that something is not right around me. We ask to let go of any discrepancies in our life, any lack, any places where we feel less than. We ask to let go of our worries, our concerns, any issues of divine retribution. And we ask right now for loving compassion for each and every one of us, for those things that we want to say, those things that we don't want to say. And we ask to have compassion and loving understanding for each and every soul on the earth right now who is coming to terms with their own state of mind, with their own soul awakening, and understand that we are a tribe, and that as more of us learn to speak our truth, as more of us learn to feel comfy, I want to imagine right now that there has been like a wine cork in your throat chakra. In fact, you can put your right hand here and imagine right now feeling a cork in that chakra. And I want you to imagine pulling that chakra out, pulling that cork out rather, just pulling it out and tossing it in the air, just tossing it. And I also see that many of us have a place inside with cords, that somehow these cords that are connected to authority figures in our life, I want us to go through and start to pull out any of those cords that are connected to authority figures, of what they're going to say and what they're going to think of us. And anytime you see one of those cords, just pull it out and toss it into, see it burned up, pull it out. Pull it out. Notice you'll have some in your back that says, that's other people's opinions of you. Any shame at speaking your truth. Any shame at noticing that the emperor actually has no clothes. So that you can actually suddenly have clarity to see the truth of all that is. And so it is. And so it shall be. That was a quickie.
Beautiful, beautiful, powerful. Thank you.
I'm going to hop off. I'm going to tell everyone how they can find me.
Yes.
Guys, go to www.joanofangels.com. Everything is Joan of Angels. I'm the only Joan of Angels. But get the free ebook on what is my soulful purpose, on how to start living it. Engage with me. Let me know your thoughts. And I have a YouTube channel with almost 400 videos on it, on how to live your soul purpose. Miracle Mondays, which I started to do tremendous healings on Miracle Mondays and step into the Miraculous. Great interviews with people like Laura and Ishmael. So go enjoy that. Engage with me on Telegram. I have a Telegram group at Joan of Angels where I put all the things that upset me or things that inspire me or that I'm interested in, like other civilizations.
Wonderful, Joan. You're doing incredible work. I'm sure our viewers are going to dash over to your website and see how they can get in touch with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was wonderful having you, and that little process that you gave us was magic. Thank you. And I hope we can
I
do this
love your
again.
energy. I
Thank
love
you.
your energy. When things settle down for me, I'm going to have you on my show myself. You're just delightful to talk to, and I
Wonderful.
love what you're doing. You bring such a calmness to this field.
Yeah, people say I'm very calm, but it's like the duck on the water. The legs at the bottom are like, but at the top it's very calm.
All right, guys. So visit my channel, my YouTube channel, visit my website, and love on Anina. She's the best. And I'll see you
Thank you
next
so
time.
much. Send
Thank
you
you
lots of
so
love.
much.
Thank you, Joan.
This was great. We'll continue our conversation.